Looking to talk some Roku here, so walk us through it here, Jenny. We were trying to explain to Kevin before here, what's the significance of Roku?
Right, and what exactly Roku is.
I need help. I'm 100 years old and I need help with my cable versus what's the best way to get me as close to that as possible, but get me off all that textbook cable package.
Right.
Cable, internet, phone. Phone. I have a landline still.
Gosh, that hurts me.
Yeah. And it rings, and you know what I say when it rings? It's not for me.
No
That's
way.
all I say
Who's
when it
calling
rings.
you on your landline?
I never pick it up because it's not for me, and if it is, it's sales.
Right. It's the telemarketer. Right. So Roku has done actually a really good job of doing exactly what you're saying, making it as simple as possible. They have one of the easiest interfaces to kind of work through. So that's why people really, really love it, because it's very simple. You can make any TV smart, because there was a day, a while ago, when it was a novelty to have a smart TV, and now anyone can have a smart TV.
Okay, I have another question though.
Okay.
And I'm sorry to break, because I need to get this done. I need to get some work done here, people. I got to figure this out. I have 7 TVs. Wow, what do I do?
So you could have you can buy the device and then you just plug that in.
Do I have to buy 7 of them?
Yes.
Aha!
Yes.
See, that's a problem.
They're like $30.
But if it's a newer TV, it may already have the software built in within it. We kind of describe, using an analogy, it's almost like the music player as opposed to the music.
Where do I get the music then?
Well, that's the question here. Do you go to Disney? Do you go to Netflix? Do you go to Apple TV?
You download apps through your Roku.
So I think we're getting somewhere.
Okay.
I think we're making a break. So if I pay the $30 for the thing, I don't have to pay anything else.
Flat rate.
Aha! Then I just go to the cable stations and I do the 3 or 4 services to get me. I think we're making some headway here.
Or you can do what I did, and I just bought a Roku TV. So my TV came with Roku. It was just the cheapest option, and now I'm very Roku loyal. I mean, I think it's the easiest thing to work, and I love that it has all my apps and all of my different streaming services. And people on Twitter are a little bit confused today, like you, because they think that...
Clearly, I'm confused. We know that.
But they think that Netflix is a competitor of Roku or Disney Plus.
Right.
That is not true.
See, so Alex had a good analogy here. That's the breakthrough.
Yes.
It's not the shows, it's how do you get the shows.
Exactly. It's the back end. So people were a little confused, and that kind of goes into my first tweet, which says, Roku, keep a close eye on this heading into earnings on February 13th after market close. Roughly half of Disney Plus's 28.6 million subscribers signed up directly through Roku, according to Disney CEO Bob Iger. Competition among streaming companies brings more ad revenue and referral fees to Roku. So this kind of goes into what I was just saying, that this is how Roku kind of brings in their customers. They have all these different partnerships. Like my TV is a Sony TV, but it's powered through Roku. And this is kind of saying this is how Disney Plus is getting their subscribers, of course, through Roku. So it's kind of like this middleman. It seems like that's how they're generating all their money. But Landon, I'm really curious if people are actually happy with the product itself, because we hear a lot of buzz of this is a really good way to watch Netflix. What about just Roku?
Right. No, I think people are very happy with it overall. And you talk about that Disney launched Disney Plus. That was actually the highest purchase intent day for Roku that we've had on history, was when Disney Plus launched. So they are helping Roku out. All the shows are helping Roku out. Kevin, you got to get rid of that landline first, but then start buying some Rokus. They're fantastic. We can see that this current quarter is actually the highest that we've got on record as far as purchase intent goes, up 57% year over year, 14% quarter over quarter. People are just buying these products and buying TVs with Rokus in them at record paces, and they're actually very happy with them. Basically, when you look at the competition, it's not Netflix, it's not Disney Plus. You're looking at Apple TV or Amazon Fire. Apple TV is doing really well, also up about 60% year over year. Amazon left in the dust, actually negative year over year, which is unbelievable given the cord-cutting movement that we're seeing. So overall, Roku doing extremely well, capturing that cord-cutting movement. About half of people that are getting rid of cable are going to Roku. I think that was about 1.7 million last quarter, expected to be in the 50 millions over the next few years as people like Kevin join the movement, and they're all going Roku.
So I have one more question, and I'm sorry to take over this segment like this, but you remember something. I've got some scars, right? I started out with albums. Then 8-track cassettes, then regular cassettes, then CDs, now online. I want to know if I buy a Roku, what's next that I'm going to have to throw all the Roku out?
VCRs is in there too.
So am I going to have to throw this out in another year and get something, the newest, latest?
Well, and I think that's really the question.
I've got some emotional scars here.
I want to get Landon's take on this, because I think this is really the question that a lot of people are asking, because even Roku knows that the idea of these smart TV boxes that you plug in, make a not smart TV a smart TV, that's a stopgap product. All new TVs now come with this stuff built in. So my question to you, Landon, obviously they're trying to pivot to become this software company, the ads associated with it. But if you buy a Samsung TV, they're not powered by Roku. They're powered by Samsung software. So at what point here do all these companies cut Roku out and they're kind of left in the dust?
Yeah, I think it's just a question of who can implement the best technology. I really do feel like Roku could be a binary bet. It's sort of like Uber in that regard. It could be just completely massive and take over everything, or, you know, the Samsungs of the world could make their own. Everyone could just do their own and cut them out. So I think it's all about user experience and user happiness. And we're showing that people really love their Rokus. You know, I have one. I love mine. Kevin, you'll love yours once you get it. But yeah, it is a question of being able to hold on to that market share and deliver a good user experience. That's really important. Now, you talk about ads, there is a lot of room for increased ad spend. So right now, about 30% of hours watched are streaming, when only about 3% of ad spend is on streaming. So you've got that huge gap there, a 10x gap, where the free market is going to fill that in. So we see streaming ad revenues coming up tremendously over the next 5 or 10 years to catch up with the streaming content that's out there as that grows as well. And so, if Roku's a big player in that, I think they've got a lot of upside on the ad side, on the ad portion of revenue.
Yeah, but Alex just scared me again, because he says there's a chance in another year or so that this is going to be obsolete. If Samsung comes in and says, we want our own, Roku, you're out, I got to do it again, don't I? Is this what
you know what?
Tell me, please.
But it's a streaming device of some kind,
Right.
And Roku's the easiest way to get started, because like Jenny said, it's $30. You can plug it into any TV. Give it a try. You'll love it.
No, and I think the bright spot too, Landon, as we're talking about, I don't think even Roku argues that these smart boxes are going to be obsolete. They will be obsolete, but they were able to recognize that a long time ago, and they made this pivot. But you just mentioned a question or a point about, pretty soon streaming is going to have all these ads. Well, then what's the difference between streaming and cable?
Yeah, I think it's more about getting you to engage in content that you weren't engaging with. So if you're on your Roku, you can go directly and just watch what you want. It's not interrupting your show, but you might see an ad along the way while you're getting to your Netflix or you're getting to HBO for the new Showtime show or something else. And so I think it's competition within the Roku, but it's not like you're watching your favorite show on Netflix and all of a sudden Roku throws ads up and interrupts your experience. That's not what's happening. It's more of you could also be watching this, or did you consider signing up for HBO Go or Showtime or whatever it may be. I think that's where the ads are coming in. It's not a disruptive experience.
Yeah, and this is a company, we haven't even really mentioned some of their growth metrics. I mean, they're up 300% in 2019, which is, of course, crazy. They are investing heavily in their international side of their business, so they're growing in that respect. And they ended the third quarter with 32.3 million active users, which was up like 40% quarter over quarter. So they're growing.
Small, though, compared to what it could be.
I guess, but I feel like right now they're solely in the, not solely, but mostly in the United States.
Right.
So I think their area to grow is, of course, international. So this is a fantastic growth story. I mean, the stock, 300% is a crazy number, and it just seems like they're not really going anywhere because, of course, Landon mentions how happy people are with them. So that goes into my next tweet, which says, Roku, you can access Apple TV, Pluto TV, Fubo TV, ESPN, all on this, just to name a few. What more could we ask? Business definitely going to be booming. So I just tried to find one that kind of captured how happy consumers are with Roku in general on Twitter. So Landon, when does this actually translate into them growing though? Because right now we've seen this growth story. It seems like the stock has run up very high, very fast. 300% in 2019 is ridiculous. So at what point are they too high? Does that make you more cautious going into earnings?
They've been kind of struggling at this price level for quite a while now, sort of flat. I mean, they're in the kind of a middle of a range. And so they've been all over the place. It's a pretty volatile stock, but they have not been running up over the last, 6 or 8 months, but they are up tremendously since, 2 or 3 years ago because of that growth. I think that, hardware sales are a concern, but the new partnership with Walmart is going to be big for them. They're becoming more and more standard. I did a search. I went to Amazon and just typed in TV, and of the top 20 that came up, 5 of them had Roku in the title. So I think that that's a big, big sign that Roku is getting in there. They do have to compete with some of the others that are building their own, like Alex mentioned, but it is becoming more standard and just easy. People are expecting that smart TV, and Roku's got their foot in the door, being the ones that are going to be the leader. Right now, they're doing fantastic. But I think you're right. It is going to come down to international sales. That's going to be a huge portion of their growth.
You make a really good point, because you'd think that Amazon Fire TV is like their biggest competitor, but then I have an Amazon Alexa that works through my Roku. So it doesn't seem like they're doing a very good job kind of capturing that market share, because they're kind of interchangeable at this point. I mean, Amazon works with both devices.
You're right, and Amazon seems to be the loser among all this group. They're the ones not getting it done. I mean, cord cutting is going up tremendously, streaming is going up tremendously, and Amazon Fire is actually down 9% on our purchase intent metric year over year, which is absurd. You've got to be up in the plus 50 or 60% range, which is what Apple TV and Roku are doing. So they're clearly going to be the winners, and then it's just a matter of, does Samsung kind of take in and cut Roku out? I don't think so. I think Roku's done a fantastic job defending and growing, and it's all upside from here.
Landon, at what point, though, right now what's a strength for Roku is the fact that they're not spending all this money on content, and they're able to focus on providing you access to the content. I almost think of Roku as like a folder for all of your different streaming apps on your cell phone. But at what point can you just have them in a custom folder that you made on your phone? Like, I just don't see the use for it down the road if they don't kind of diversify into something else. Thoughts on that, but really thoughts going into earnings on your data versus what the stock's been doing.
Yeah, I think it's a good analogy, the folder analogy, but I think Americans are lazy and they want an easy solution. You want to just click a button and open up all your apps. One thing that's really cool is you can go into Roku and type in a title that you want to watch, and it will tell you all the services that you're subscribed to and how much it costs on each one. And a lot of times I go in there, I do that. I see that I can rent it for $3 on Vudu or watch it on HBO for free, and I didn't know that. So I just click that and I go straight to it. It's very handy to have all of them tied into one. It's a very smart interface. On earnings, we love the growth year over year. Plus 57% is tremendous. Purchase intent is at all-time highs. I think we're pretty bullish here, but I'm not sure how much of that pace is expected. So they've been growing really fast, and they continue to grow really fast. It's just a matter of what analysts are actually expecting. So the pace of growth is, I guess, the same as it has been, but purchase intent is at all-time highs. If it sells off at all, I'm going in for sure bullish, and I'll probably play a little bit to the upside.